That was trippy. So Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is directed by Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey and Rodney Rotham, had to remember all three of those, and stars Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, who, after being bitten by a radioactive spider, is given the powers of Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man actually exists in this universe, who is of course Peter Parker, but he has recently been killed in an accident, leading Miles Morales to taking up the mantle of Spider-Man to protect New York. Now, I have had my eye on this movie all year because I've been so excited about it. I think an animated Spider-Man movie surrounding Miles Morales is something that is very unique to the superhero genre. Miles Morales is a very awesome, very interesting, very unique character that took up the mantle of Spider-Man after Peter Parker in the comics. And I've been waiting for them to do a live-action interpretation of him, but I will take what I can get with this animated version. And to be honest, this may be the best version of Miles Morales we may ever get. Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, who you may know from Dope, he is an awesome actor and is a great voice choice for Miles Morales. He's able to bring across this young vulnerability, but also very self-confidence performance to this role that I really enjoyed. I think he's really able to embody everything I know about Miles Morales from the comics, and also very recently, if you played the Spider-Man PS4 video game, you know, the version that we have of Miles in there. He's very, very confident, he's very, very sure of who he is, he's very aware of what he can do, but he's also got this vulnerability to him, and especially when he first is starting to experience these powers, he doesn't know who he is, he doesn't know what he can do, and it's a very much of a coming-of-age movie as it is a comic book movie. And of course, this being Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, this movie has so many different versions of Spider characters throughout the comics. We have Jake Johnson as the average Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and I have to say, I was a bit skeptical on Jake Johnson being cast. Like, Jake Johnson's a bit hit and miss with me, but I have to say, I loved his performance in this. I think he was perfect for this slightly older, slightly over-the-hill Spider-Man that we get in this movie, and I think he was perfect casting for that role. Like I say, I'm a bit iffy with Jake Johnson. Like, some roles I love, like in this year's Tag, I thought he was great in that, but there are just some other roles where I'm not too sure, like in Jurassic World. But here, I think as this kind of over-the-hill Spider-Man, he was perfectly cast, and he really got some great lines. His chemistry with Shameik Moore, I think, is really well illustrated on screen, and I thought he was a great choice for this role. And of course, there are other ones in this, like Hailee Steinfeld really impressed me as Spider-Gwen, and we also had Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. There's also Spider-Ham and many, many others, but I think that, you know, all the cast do a great job in this movie. Now, the biggest thing I took away from this movie is the animation style. It is gorgeous. It's an animation style I've never quite seen before. This isn't anything that Pixar have done before, that DreamWorks have done before, that Illumination have done before. This is something completely new and completely fresh. It's like a combination between 2D and 3D animation that, again, I've never seen before. It's really interesting. It's vivid. It's stunning to look at. And again, as an animation fan, it's really awesome just to see this new style because, you know, it's something new for my eyes to see. And that's really great. I love that in a film when it gives me something new for my brain to kind of process. And I thought that this was really nice. I can't wait to see how other studios plan to use this kind of style in the future now that it's been brought up, and also where other future movies in this will go. We know we're getting a sequel to this movie, we also know that we're getting an all-female spin-off, so I'm interested to see where this world's going to go and how crazy this animation can get. Also, of course, with the creative force that is Phil Lord and Chris Miller behind this movie, it is hilarious. It's on point. The humor works so well, whether it's just relative humor or if it's referencing previous things in the comic book genre. There's a joke extremely early on that references Spider-Man 3, and it's absolutely hilarious. I was laughing out loud, and so was my entire cinema when that joke came on screen. But even just the humor between the characters works really well, and again, it's relative humor, stuff that you can just, you know, situational humor, where, you know, humor just comes out of these situations that would otherwise be kind of serious, but in order to keep the situation alive, in order to keep human beings alive, humor is what is able to do that, and I think that the writers are really able to play on that concept and really utilize it to the best of their ability. Also, this movie just has a really nice message behind it, because while I wouldn't say this is strictly a kids movie, a good kids movie always has a really strong message behind it, and I think that this movie does that very well. You have this sort of message about how no matter who you are, you can be this hero, you can be who, you know, whoever everyone needs you to be, no matter who you are. And I think that's a really good message to kind of portray to kids, to try and make them stand up and, you know, be proud of who they are, and also show that, you know, no matter who you are awesome in your own way. And I think that this movie does that in a really good way. And, you know, this movie also kind of connects to that because it has a really nice tribute at the end to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Obviously Stan Lee, the founder of Marvel, and also Steve Ditko, the creator of the Spider-Man character. They both passed away recently, and we got a really nice tribute to them at the end of the movie. And again, they were what this movie kind of represents. They represented the fact that anybody can be a hero, including Miles Morales or you. And the soundtrack is incredible in this movie. So good. It fits so well into the character of Miles Morales and fits so well into the tone that they have set for this film. It just works. I mean, even though there are some songs that I thought I wasn't even going to like from somebody like Post Malone, who I'm not exactly personally a huge fan of his music, his songs fit really well into this, and there are so many others as well. I can't wait for them to release like the official soundtrack, because I found some playlists and things like that on Spotify, but they don't include every single song that I heard in this movie. So I need to hear the entire full soundtrack when Sony officially release it, because it is beautiful and it fits so well with this. I mean, I'm not talking about the score, which is also great by the way, but the soundtrack in particular, the actual, you know, licensed music they use in this movie is fitting so well for Into the Spider-Verse. Overall, I loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I thought this movie was absolutely phenomenal. It's a great film. Not only is it just a stunning animation piece, but it's a great film in its own right. And I genuinely feel like this movie is going to do a lot of good things for the younger audiences who are going to be watching this movie, because this could set up a new precedent. Obviously, the most well-known Spider-Man character is Peter Parker. We all know Peter Parker. He's been the star of so many movies. Obviously, in the MCU, we have Peter Parker and things like that. But people, you know, young kids who may grow up on this movie, you know, their Spider-Man that they could grow up with could be Miles Morales. And I think that's a really exciting thing to discuss and a thing to maybe think about and speculate about. And I think that's a really nice thing. Not only does this message have, or this movie have a beautiful message behind it, but the animation style is beautiful to go along with that and help deliver that message to its audience. The performances are outstanding, the music's so good, and I think that overall this movie might be maybe the best Spider-Man movie ever made. So did you guys see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's have a conversation about this movie in the comment section down below. And as always guys, if you want to see more movie reviews from me, be sure to subscribe. And I hope to see you guys again in my next video.